on the towel. It is our honor to acknowledge our newest distinguished Toastmaster in District 39, newly minted distinguished Toastmaster. This member represents the very best of what the Toastmasters organization has to offer. This member has shown excellent leadership skills and built their public speaking skills to the exemplary level that is expected of a committed and accomplished member of Toastmasters International. Join with me up on the stage, Melanie Stark, and to give her her medallion, her son Magnus. Internationally, very few people ever achieve the goal of distinguished Toastmaster. District 39 has over 150 active distinguished Toastmasters. What an honor. Tonight's awardee, or this afternoon, will be honored by receiving an engraved medallion and DTM plaque. I know you need assistance. This is her beautiful engraved plaque. There will be a few moments for a photo, so get your cameras ready. And then our distinguished Toastmaster recipient will have 5 to 7 minutes to tell us about her highlights of her journey to distinguished Toastmaster. Melanie A. Stark. Magnus, if you would grab her. There you go. And place that over your mother's head. We're going to begin and honor Melanie Stark. To roll through the slides, I'm going to have to speed us along. Along with Melanie, there are a number, as I mentioned, 150 active distinguished Toastmasters.
Oh, that was cool.
That was really good. So Melanie's quote is, next slide. Oh, they didn't make it. Oh. Well, she had a beautiful quote, and I will see about getting that displayed for dinner. Melanie, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I can't tell you what an honor it is to receive this award on this year of all years, the 100th anniversary of Toastmasters International. And I was wondering if Ralph Smedley had a time machine and could be here in this room today. I wonder what he would think about what we've done with his legacy. So I joined Toastmasters back in 2016. And at the time, I was a young mother of a neurodiverse family. And I was just looking for something that I could do to hang out with some adults for a couple hours a week that didn't involve Big Bird and Elmo, to be honest. So I joined Speaking Machine Toastmasters. Now, my family has always been my highest priority, and they always will be. So my speeches, most of them in the early days at least, were inspired by my children. But as we know, Toastmasters is about more than just speaking. It's about leadership. So it was, 1 or 2 years into it, I became vice president of membership in our club. And that year, Rick Pierce was our president. And I don't think Rick knows this, but his style of leadership was exactly what I needed. Because he's a guy who says what he means what he says, and he set a foundation on his values. He's really value-driven, and he leads with integrity. And it was because of his mentorship that I started to figure out what kind of leader I wanted to be. And I'm really glad that I had that, because I needed that type of leadership to advocate for my children in the school system. Because our school system doesn't always provide the services and accommodations that kids need when they don't fit inside of a little box of what we consider to be neurotypical or normal. So I had to do a lot of work to advocate for them. And it was tough because the school district exposed my children to some very abusive practices. And I had to use every skill I had learned in Toastmasters to bring this corruption to the media. And in the midst of all of that, we had a pandemic. So there was a lot going on. And while all this was happening, I got a call from Donna Lewis saying, "How would you like to be an area director?" And I thought, I hadn't planned on doing anything outside the club level. But the pandemic actually afforded me an opportunity that I hadn't expected. It allowed me to do the job from home. And my children were able to witness this. They were able to see both mom and dad being leaders, not only in our home, but in the world. And I think them being able to see that modeled was really important for them to see what was possible in this world. So I was very fortunate that year because Joey Waldrop was my division director and Ed Johnson was our district director. And these two people believed a lot more in me than I believed in myself. So I had to borrow a lot of faith from them. But with their help, we brought the area to President's Distinguished that year. And by the time that everything started to open up again and we were able to start doing things in person again, I had accomplished everything I needed for my DTM except one thing, and that was I needed to coach a club. So I was approached by Lodi Toastmasters, and they asked if I could coach them, and I said yes, and then I got there and realized I had no idea what I was doing. So I did what my mentors had taught me to do. I called forth a team, and some of you know this. I called some of you to come and guest speak at Lodi because I wanted them to see what accomplished Toastmasters looked like and what could be possible for them. And in that first year, I watched them grow so much. And we could have hustled and we could have gotten to Distinguished in that first year, but I didn't feel good about that because, I could have gotten my DTM a year earlier, but I wanted to make sure that I did this with integrity. I wanted to make sure that I was leaving Lodi Toastmasters as a very strong club. So I stayed on for a second year, but in the second year, I started bringing my son Magnus with me to the meetings. That's why he was cheering so much every time Lodi's name came up. Because this club, let me tell you what they did. They believed in my son the way my mentors had believed in me. And they encouraged him the way I was encouraged. And I watched his confidence grow and grow, and I was so proud of him. And I was so proud of them, but I still had to be their coach. So I told them, all right, guys, look, no more guest speakers until you get your DCP points, okay? We've got to get you to President's Distinguished. But if you can get to President's Distinguished, I'll camp out on Tony Robbins' lawn if I have to. I'll get you any guest speaker you want, but you got to get your DCP points. And they totally rose to the occasion. They absolutely did it. I was so proud of them. But what happened next? Ernie Dakamas called me, and she says, Miss Melanie, that's what she always says, she says, Miss Melanie, we did the work that you wanted us to do. Now you gotta hold up your end of the bargain. We want our guest speaker. They said, we want Magnus Stark to speak at our club. And this kid, let me tell you, he gave a speech that could give any district champion a run for their money. This is the kid that the school district tried to break. They tried to tell him that he wasn't capable because he didn't fit in the mold that they were used to. But Magnus, I want you to know that of all the guides and the mentors that I have had along this journey, you have been my greatest teacher, because you've taught me to think different. You taught me to view the world in new ways and understand people from all different levels. And I know that if you had a time machine and you could go forward 100 years from now and see what your great-grandchildren have done with the legacy that we have created here, I'm pretty sure that none of them are gonna care that your mom got a DTM. And none of them are gonna care what club made it to President's Distinguished or who got what DCP points or anything like that. Because it doesn't matter what kind of certificate you win or award or title you get. It doesn't matter how much money you make. None of that stuff matters. What matters is how you treat people, how you believe in them, how you focus on your values, and how you lead with dignity. And that, my beautiful son, is how you will become distinguished.
Amazing! 11 out of 10. Infinity out of 10.